So, in terms of marriage advice, what I would say is, one sec. Your wife is always right. Do whatever makes her happy, even if it makes you sad. Nothing is worth more than her joy. Put her before everyone, including yourself.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, but waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a face of somebody who needs you. You're lost out there and you're all alone. A light is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look.
So my favorite memory of Hira is a really recent one. About 5 or 6 months ago, she was dropping me home from the suburbs to the city, and she kept getting these notifications of text messages on her CarPlay from a contact labeled My Rasul with 2 pink hearts. And I remember being a little bit suspicious, but just kind of brushing it off. After a few more messages, I think Hira realized as well, but we both kind of stayed quiet. And then eventually the messages were so persistent that I was like, no, I'm too nosy. I need to say something. So jokingly, I was like, Hira, who is this? Like, do you have a little boyfriend or something? And she just started giggling. She got so shy. She was like, Fatty, like I'm talking to someone, but you know, keep it on down low. It's still pretty new, but yeah, I'm really happy. I really like him. Just keep making dua. So I was like, oh my God, I got so excited. And then a couple minutes later, she ended up getting a phone call from Rasul, but she was too shy to pick it up in front of me. So I was like, no worries. I'll step outside the car for a couple minutes, and you can chat with him, thinking that it would be like a minute or 2 max. But no, Hira and Rasul ended up having a full-blown like 10-minute conversation while I stood outside in pouring rain. So it was like a total downpour, and I was just standing there while they chit-chatted away. But I remember thinking it was like the cutest thing ever, and I was so like honored to be the first person in KCA to find out. Even though it was inadvertently, I still felt special.
So my favorite memory of Hira is more of a collective memory. So me and Hira actually have an 11-year age gap, which means I'm technically the baby of the family. So ever since I was a kid, Hira had a weird obsession with making me watch all the classic TV shows, movies, music. So ever since I was a kid, I was exposed to like Michael Jackson, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. She put me out to Dragon Ball Z, which kind of started my obsession. So what I'm thankful for is that Hira made my childhood more memorable.
So when we were kids, Hira would come over every single day after school and literally rummage through our pantry looking for snacks, and anything she found, she would eat. And we would fight about it constantly, and there was no beating Hira in that argument. And it sucked. But at least now, when I think back to it, it always makes me laugh. By the way, when you guys get a house in Texas, I am coming over and I'm eating all your snacks.
Okay, so favorite memory of Hira? I remember when it was me, Sarah, Hamza, Hira, and it was a bunch of us. I can't even remember who else was there. We were all playing in the park, and there was this dog that was really far away. And slowly it was coming closer, and we were like, oh, it's such a cute dog, but again, it was like really far away. And then as soon as it got close to us, we all ran. And mind you, it's me, Sarah, Hira, I think like Naja was there, Hamza was there, Hilal, Hiba, Fatma. Half the people ran into Hilal's backyard, and me and Sarah go running home crying. Literally, we're crying. And we get to the door, ring the doorbell, Mama opens the door, and Mama's like, where's Hamza? And me and Sarah look around and we're like, oh, uh-oh. Mama just let us in, and Mama's like, no, go get Hamza. And then we turn around, and just when we're about to have to go back and get him, we see Hira holding Hamza literally like this, because she could barely hold him. She was so little herself, and she brought him in and she saved the day, and Mama loved her for that. We all loved her. Hamza's own siblings forgot him, but Hira remembered, and that shows how caring and loving Hira can be.
In terms of my favorite memory of Hira, when we were kids, me, her, and her older brother, Big Hamza, we used to kind of ride our bikes all over. So we would ride to this Taco Bell, which was quite the drive, and or quite the ride, right? And then and we would get something and then ask for water, like, and they'd give us the cups and we'd fill it up with like Sprite or something. And I remember one time Hera got caught. And me and Big Hamza were like really scared that she would rat us out, but yeah, but then when she caught back, she's told us she didn't rat us out, but we just kind of made fun of her because I don't know how she got caught. Like, it really wasn't that hard back then, but it's a memory I remember, and we definitely don't do that anymore, so yeah, that's my favorite memory.
My favorite memory of Hira is when she, Hamza, and I went to a water park when we were younger. 5 minutes into the walk, a bird pooped on her shoulder and it dripped onto her hand. And instead of letting her go back home and wash it off, we made her walk another 20 minutes so we could get to the water park.
Okay, so it was 2008. I was like this awkward little 12-year-old, and I was coming to Chicago for the first time from Pennsylvania. And I was like very sweaty because I was like, I'm so anxious, like social anxiety and everything. And I was meeting these cousins for the first time that I've never met. And so I was very nervous, and I get there and Hera right away just like made me feel right at home, and like everyone did. But I remember Hera just being so comforting, and I think that's something like everyone can say about her, is that she's so comforting, and I felt right at home right away.
My favorite memory with Hira is in our old house, in our basement. I think everyone remembers our classic toy room that we had, and I always remember that me and Hira used to be playing Barbies in the toy room while my older brother Vaya used to be playing PlayStation and Xbox. And in the summer months with the AC, it was really, really cold in the basement. I just have like the best memories of me and Hira just having the time of our life with playing my Barbies. And then when we got a little bit older, actually, we transitioned from the toy room into the computer desk. And somehow me, Hassan, and Hira all fit onto that one black chair, and we spent all of our time in the next summer months just watching and playing a bunch of computer games. And even now, when me and Hira kind of just look back and talk about those days, she's the only one that really understands me, and we both understand each other, and we have that childlike love and obsession that we'll always have because of those memories in that basement.
My favorite memory of Hira, it's also like a favorite quality of hers. Is I think she knows me better than my own sisters do. So one time during my one of my birthdays, my sisters wanted to get me cake, and you know, obviously I don't really care about cake. And her was like, let's get him a fish fillet instead. And she specifically added shredded lettuce, which I didn't even tell her. So she just knew what I wanted without me even telling her. It was like a telepathic thing. So that's why she's my girl.
So my favorite memory with Hira is a long time ago at her old house. There was like a wall, like cutout or window between her kitchen and the next room. And there was like a ledge that rested on that wall. And for whatever reason, it was very unstable. And they decided to keep like big flower pots filled with dirt and flowers. So one day I came over and I was just like playing, and I rested my elbow on it like this, and the whole thing came tumbling down. Dirt was everywhere, and I was absolutely petrified because I had just made the biggest mess ever. And right at that moment, Hira's parents walked in, and they thought it was her. So she got in huge trouble, and I was just watching like this, and she took the hit for me. So shout out Hira for taking the hit for me that day. I owe you one big time. But I always think back to that memory and laugh.
So my favorite memory is during Ramadan. She made these handmade cinnamon buns, and she went to every person's house and she hand delivered them. And they're like the best cinnamon buns I've ever had. So that was pretty good. I still talk about it now. Like I bring it up a lot.
3 times a week. He talks, or anytime we go looking for cinnamon, he's talking about Hira's cinnamon.
They're really good.
Okay, so my favorite story of Hira, I have a million, but I have to say one of my favorite stories is one day our parents were fully locked into the drama Humsafar, and they forgot to feed us hungry children in the basement. So we had heard a rumor that if you go to Dunkin' Donuts before it closes, they'll give you all the donuts of the day that weren't used. So hers was ready. We left, got to Dunkin' Donuts, and right before the guy was about to hand us that huge bag of donuts, he asked us what organization we represented. So hers completely froze.
and I decided to make up a huge lie. I told them that we were going to use it to feed the homeless people of Westmont. So he believed us, obviously. We got the bag, we came home. On the drive back, we felt so guilty that we decided, well, we're going to wake up really early, so just leave the donuts in the car, wake up really early, and then actually give the donuts to the homeless people. But we ended up sleeping really late that day, and we ended up waking up at 1 p.m. only to find out one of the dads had found the donuts, set them up, and that was the KCA breakfast that day. So here we are, still feeling guilty about those donuts.
By and large, my most favorite quality of Hira's is her constant willingness to learn and grow. I think my admiration for this is twofold. So first off, I think I really adore the fact that she seeks education, she seeks knowledge, she's constantly in pursuit of it. And I think that's rare. And secondly, I think she does so with so much grace and compassion and humility. Hira will never make you feel like she knows it all or that she knows more than you. She will listen, she will understand, and I think as a teacher she says all the time that she learns so much from her students, which I think is such an important but rare and invaluable quality in an educator and also just a person. So yeah, I really adore her in that respect. She serves as a role model for me, and I know that anybody around her can genuinely attest to this.
So Hira's an explorer. She doesn't mind doing things on her own, but she does love company. She's a crazy hard worker in every aspect of her life, and if something doesn't work out, Hira will literally make her own path. And she does what brings her joy, and she follows her heart, and we're lucky to have her in our family.
My favorite quality of Hira would definitely be her openness to experiences. I think it's amazing that not only did she leave the country, but traveled halfway across the world to Japan to teach children there. And I think that she'll continue to make a difference for a lot of people.
In terms of my favorite quality of Hira, I think that I really admire how kind of ambitious and adventurous she is. Like, man, the girl went to like Japan to teach, and like she really pursued her passions. Went to teach for like 2 years, and that's amazing. Like I can barely go to the neighboring state to see my sister, and she went across the world to pursue something she felt passionate about, and I really admire that about her.
So my favorite quality of Hira's by far is how comforting she is as a person. She just is somebody that exudes warmth and comfort, and the way I describe it, which sounds a little bit cheesy, is that she feels like home. But that's really been my experience. She's the person that I always run to anytime something comes up and I have to vent or get something off my chest. She's my go-to for that, and she always has been, and I think she always will be. So I love that about Hira.
One of my favorite qualities of Hira is how positive she is and how she always sees the good in people.
And one of my favorite qualities about Hira is that she's super caring. As you can tell, she like raised Hassan. I'm pretty sure Hassan's gonna talk about this too.
2 hours later.
So my favorite quality of Hira is definitely her motherly nature. She is someone I view as the backbone of our family, someone I can really count on. Whether that was helping me with my homework or helping me study for my test, whether I needed to be picked up from somewhere, she was someone I could really turn to. When I was younger, I remember my parents went on a trip to the Caribbean, and Hira really stepped up during that time, and she made sure I was taken care of.
So my advice for Razzle definitely will have to be that Hira is very much a person who appreciates words of affirmation. Hira always sees the good and positive in other people, and so she really tries to talk about and appreciate other people's good characteristics. So Razzle, if you're ever wanting to do something nice for Hira, just remember that if you can just speak something kind to her or just appreciate her for her good qualities, she'll definitely love that, and it'll definitely make her day.
Oh, Hira has a very tender heart, so be gentle with her. Also hide your snacks because she eats all of them.
My advice is to be healthy and happy.
My advice for Razzle and for Hira is to always communicate with each other, always prioritize each other, and put yourselves first.
What?
What?
Oh, my advice for Razzle? An easy one.
advice for Rasul, and my advice is for Hera as well. Sorries and thank yous go a long way. Have patience for one another. And for Rasul, happy wife is a happy life. Sarah, do you want to say something too?
Welcome to Texas.
Welcome to Texas, yay!
My advice for Hera? All you need is love.
All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need.
She's gonna let's party!
तेरी मैं ता जागा रातन नू रोक न पावा अखियां विचों गम दियां बरसातन नू तारे गिन गिन याद च तेरी मैं ता जागा रातन नू रोक न पावा अखियां विचों गम दियां बरसातन नू